Hi, my name is Vicente Cruz, event and fundraising coordinator for the Oakland Greens, and this is the October public general meeting of the Oakland Greens and Oakland Green Party. Right now, we're about to go over agenda review and then go right into the agenda items. So we have a letter to the school board first, KPFA elections report back, 2022 virtual town hall changes, the last virtual events of 2021, Tracy Rosenberg, and then after Sesta Fosta. Sorry for not looking in the camera, 7 viewers as I read off my other screen. November Green Sunday, Treasury report, still on the employee identification number, social media report back, email report back, Texas trifold. I should actually move those up. We'll see if anyone wants to second moving those all up and having the general report backs at the end. Texas response trifold, Dale and myself and Amani, Dale's version, and then Vicente and Amani's. Tabling report back, Blake Street garage sale, picnic on Telegraph report back, and then actually giving up my Sundays and going back to Grand Lake Farmers Market or some other farmers market. Green Party of California proposal, just a discussion on recall bylaw changes. The Green Socials moving from baseball into basketball season. Green merchandise, the changes in graphics. Website report back, Facebook report back, and then announcements at the end. Anyone have any changes? Anything? No? Good. All right, so then the first one, excuse me. So remember, it was tabled from last meeting, and also I think it came up in the county too, the letter to the school board. Did everyone get a chance to review it?
I did.
Is it okay for us to sign on to it and then we'll like publish it on websites? That's the question.
Well, can I say something about
Oh,
it?
of course. No, that's what it's time for. Please go.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it should be. I think we should be emphasizing the the transparency and accountability aspect. I don't want to take a position on the science. I don't know anything about the science. It may be true. It may not be true. I don't particularly want to sign something which makes scientific assertions that I know nothing about. That's my own personal opinion. And again, what I think is most relevant for us is transparency and accountability. Over.
Yes, Dale, go ahead.
I agree with Michael very much, because I don't want to sign anything that mentions, what is it, that Professor Gotti in Italy?
Yeah.
I want to avoid that.
Right.
Not to be associated with that.
Well, there's 2. Greg?
Well, it gets complicated. I mean, I think the ask is to, the ask is to provide disclosure. It's not, necessarily claiming that everything here is that we're fully believing everything here, but we want to have the disclosure about what it is. So I mean, maybe we should look at the actual wording and see if we want to. Do we have a copy of this in a form that we can change it?
Yes.
Okay, well then, let's see. Where is the actual ask? Where does it say?
I'd have to pull it up.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. It's at least on my computer, it's on 2 pages near the bottom of the first page. There's a paragraph that starts, "Can you please set the record straight and get full disclosure of the ingredients?"
So that sounds, at least what I'm hearing again, is back to not this particular paper, but trying to put something out that overall, which isn't like such a hard ask for us that we just want more transparency and almost in all things that have to do with public health and safety and government. So that would be not just in pieces that we write in the future, but possibly writing something just on transparency.
Well, it continues. It says, please confirm that tests you require will not expose us to any nanoparticles of silver, aluminum, titanium, glass fibers, or any other toxins, including ethylene oxide. So, you know, it sounds reasonable that they should confirm what they're asking the students to submit to, get disclosure of the ingredients and confirm that these particular materials are not in the tests.
Right, but I have two that are like a first and a second that the Oakland Greens don't publicize it because of the actual studies ahead of time, and like that, you know, we're not scientists, we don't know this science, it's only one. And if I remember from the county level, even the researcher doing is like, I just want a bunch of people to do the tests. Like I'm like, they weren't even saying, oh yes, this is it. So again, I think I would lean, which would make it 3, or which is all we would need, is that, okay, the Oakland Greens don't publicize it, but yes, the ask, I think we should know what's in, I want to know what's in my food. I want all of that.
Right.
Orlando hand, please. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, we going through this with the county right now. I'm eating right now. I didn't want to be rude, but it's going off religious exemption right now. So a lot of folks in the county is about in the religious exemption in the vaccine. People don't have a problem with the vaccine, but they're saying more people that took the shot have more outbreaks and rebounds to give people the COVID. So, you know, to sum it up, the biggest argument I'm hearing right now is around religious exemption and how can it work?
Well, I can say from the other side about people getting the vaccine and then getting more sick. That's not on any of the studies that actually, even the Oakland Group of John Hopkins, Worldometer, any of that doesn't support that evidence. The religious one I have heard, and my debate and stuff fall on that too. Like, I'm an atheist, so like I believe in one less God than most other people on the planet. So like that I don't, because for me it's about public health and public space. So if you're around me, and I do trust science, if the studies are done and it's repeated over and over and over again by all these different independent colleges and globally even now, then I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want the booster, let's do it, right? Because everything else doesn't show it. Now, you know, and plus, if some of the things that people are saying, the negatives and anti-vaxxers in quotation marks, whatever, any along all that spectrum, if what they were saying was actually fact, it'd be like Monty Python out there, like, you know, bring out your dead, like the movie, look like the actual Black Plague, where like you wake up and half of your city is dead, right? You know, so I don't see, I haven't seen that part too. And again, that whole argument too, I don't understand as well, because we also vaccinate against all these other things. You know, I think we're caught in this, well, I really do believe everything is everything. But part of that everything is now we're in this information age where there are active organizations spreading misinformation and disinformation to divide and conquer, to keep us in chaos, right? The same thing when we get to table and why everybody was so apathetic and they're just out of it. But there are some positives in there too. So again, so we're back, I want to keep on the question too, is like whether we publicize it or not. Yes, Greg.
Well, you know, if we want to delete the stuff that has what's his name, Gotti and Antonietta Gotti, if we want to delete that stuff, it's about maybe half of the contents. And, you know, then we can just kind of maybe talk in generalities about There should be disclosure about what you're asking people to submit to here.
All right, well, if we put on the notes, then a question mark that I will have an edited version for the next month's meeting, definitely before the end of the year. And I'll do that. Oh, yes, go ahead, Dale, please.
Didn't I remember Justin Richardson talking about the fact that this whole issue simply would disappear by November because the school is no longer going to use this particular swab? So we're almost at a point where it's as irrelevant what we're
Right.
saying, except for the disclosure and transparency is a general issue.
Right.
But even mentioning all those toxic metals that you just listed off, you probably are exposed to more of them every day in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And you are than the tiny little bit that exists on the end of a Q-tip.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Right. Well, I'm still hearing that we just put a question mark. I will try to get to it, but I still have to do at least, one set of graphics for all of the other events that we're doing next year, and we're increasing our events. So question mark for next meeting, definitely by the end of the year, I'll have something that's just on transparency. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. If there's nothing else on that, we go right into the KPFA elections report back. Well, I guess the election's over.
Not really.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be certified. Renee's supposed to have them all certified by November 1st. But it's still, I guess I'm leaning more into the camp, but I just don't think Renee has as much power as people are giving her credit for in some of the letters and things. There's been one that's like very gentle toned and like appreciate your work, and the other one is like, oh, come on, I won't go as strong as like just on the block talk, but still is very strong. Like, you could do this and you're just not. And the reason you're not is because you don't want us to have access. And I don't think it's about any slates, because both slates had email blasts. I know about the other independent candidates. I couldn't get any email lists of members so I could campaign to them. So there was no way that I had access. And even though we endorsed and gave in for Rescue Pacifica, like my recommendation, even from them on their email, didn't come until like 2 days before elections ended. So after I had said something in an email. So I wasn't going to win, but I am going to email Renee. Still no hurry, since she still she's probably scrambling, trying to get everything certified by November 1st, which again is my feeling is that she's just by herself. Is I want to see if I can volunteer for her team, and like, well, I guess we'd be the team. But I would also be there to advocate for, everybody should have a list. You actually should not be able to use a third party, right? I want money out of fucking politics altogether. Why the fuck would we put it in community radio, right? I get it that you want to be sustainable that way, so you want membership and you want a threshold. Let's also lower the threshold to $5 memberships, right? I also, same thing before, think they should be pushing for smaller donations from a larger group and having programming that mentions that. And it happened, at least in the live debate I did on air. We had one under 30 caller, or at least they said they were under 30, but said that, name some programs. And I was like, as much as I loved those programs too, I was like, I can see why a young person would not want those programs on. And maybe those are the programs we move to online platforms and not live radio, and try to see what more of the people want to get those memberships. And I will end my little first rant with that. Yeah, go ahead, Greg, and then Michael.
We certainly hope that we can hold off the status quo people, the ones that keep putting all these new bylaws, because one of the things that they want to do, they wanted to raise the minimum donation from $25 to $50. They wanted to, say, well, let's just have wealthy people be involved. We can't have the rabble, right? So yeah, they're obviously not interested in trying to build any kind of grassroots. They just want to have a elitist kind of situation. Anyway, but apparently there's one station, I think it's the one in Washington, D.C., that did meet quorum. So their election is being extended. So supposedly they're not going to be able to release any results until they dealt with that other station. I don't know why. I mean, you could say that the election results for each station are independent of each other, but I guess for some reason they're holding off. So yeah, it's going to be a little while before we get the results.
Right. And for the Michael's next, for the record of the 7 people that have watched, too, $50 doesn't count as wealthy. Just so you know, the Oakland Greens don't think $50 you're wealthy. Michael?
Well, no, I mean, compared to 5, I mean, you're saying, there's some.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep the Oakland Greens out of trouble. Not.
All right.
I was just curious. I understand that there are no even semi-official results yet. But I do want to ask whether people have a sense of what the results are going to be over in our area.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No sense at all.
Well, the only I don't. With that, I can say from looking at the YouTube channel and who gets hits, Phoebe got the most. Phoebe's individual card on YouTube got the most in the hundreds. And for some reason, theirs is the thumbnail for the whole playlist of candidates. So I don't know if this, because when you click on the playlist, that's the first, they're the first, Phoebe's the first person to come up. So that can give you can go by debates, I think, as well. And what, how many people have watched it and things. I think that can give us a semi. I mean, it's going to between the 2 slates. I don't think any of the independent candidates will break anything. And also, I want to add, we have not even discussed Oakland Greens taking position on this, but I see how that's done. I think that not only should, I think $5 should be the membership, but I think the threshold should be higher. I think it should be 30% at least. Would be something that I would compromise on. Really, I'd want 51, right? But we got to figure out. You would have to figure out why people aren't voting in them, but they're still putting in memberships, right? Probably the same reason why people register to vote and don't vote would be my guess, is that they think it's all bullshit. Right? The electorate is not as stupid as people think, and they know the same thing, that KPFA is it's not for me, it's for them, whoever I am and whoever they are. So I think, but I also do agree with the RPs. I did that. If one station doesn't make it, we should, because 10% is so fucking low, right? That's why they should extend it for all the stations and then make a push, right? Have more debates on or at least ask the question, why aren't you, your members, right? You paid your 25 or more, why aren't you voting? Please tell us, right? We want to know, and have at least, an hour a day covering or something. They could come up with something and do it more often. So yeah, answer that question. We don't have a sense, and we'll supposed to find out November 1st, and we'll see what happens. I'll probably email her or Renee before that, but I don't think she'll look at it until after she's done certifying all the elections, especially if one of the stations still has to keep on going. Anything else on election report backs for the KPFA, LSB, and Pacifica? Seeing none. Did everyone get a chance to look at the virtual town hall changes?
No.
No, all right, tabling. The last virtual event. So we have Tracy Rosenberg coming up, and which will also tie into when we get to financials. Our ad went in the paper for this month for SF Bayview. We'll see what happens, but as of it now, still we haven't, we're just going to be having her for the time, and we can just talk with her and just have recording content. But no one has gotten tickets for it as much as we've put in. Yes, Greg.
What's the date and how does that correlate to the election results?
It's the October 30th, Saturday in the afternoon. So it's
Well, I
just
hope
before,
we get
after the election.
results.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be November 1st, but but we can still definitely have the discussion of the two slates and how do we promote candidates, and I'll pick, I can talk to her for an hour and a half and pick her brain on the bullshit infighting, wasting so much energy on bickering with each other like little kids. I'm telling you, the reason I even went, my candidate statement is not the statement I wanted. But just seeing how much they need someone on the playground to like organize the games and get these kids working together, right? I changed it and went nonviolent communication, right? Everybody, this is like, we're small enough. Everybody knows how I fucking am, right? This is how I fucking talk. This is me on my time, right? That's why it's age restricted. They asked us that and actually thought, anyway, Facebook report back. But anyway, so no one has bought anything. And to answer that question again, it's October 30th. It's like a couple of days before everything.
I have a question. How are we going to, is there going to be a flyer or something for advertising or talk that we can distribute, even electronically?
Well, there's promotional graphics and flyers that's been out for months. Yeah, so there's.
Well, can we send it to the Oakland Greens list or something so that we can?
Oh yeah, it has been. No, I send it. Oh yeah, no, I send it for sure.
Well, send it out. Send it again because it's getting, as we get closer to the event, people could use a reminder, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, I do it often. I post it often, but it's all online. We haven't really. I didn't have one today when we get to tabling or anything, but it's so close to the event. But yes, there will be another email blast going out about Tracy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I still think it's good to have the event and talk with her because we can have the video content and I can edit it and it still helps us on our YouTube channel and social media, which really is where most of our engagement is being driven from right now, right? It's all online. On Instagram, it's with parties that are more global than local. But every time they like anything that I post or everything, that goes into the algorithm and then, more people see it and hopefully more local folks and things like that. Anything else on Tracy? And I will actually email Tracy next week too and give her a reminder. Actually, I think I added her to this list, so this particular email for this meeting. Yes, Greg.
Just a minor thing that on the agenda, you spelled her last name with a U, but I don't think she has a U. I think it's all E's.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So if you're doing the publicity, obviously make sure her name is spelled right.
Well, I hope so because I don't publish anything without the talent's permission. So they have to spell check it before it goes out. But I don't do it for our meetings. And you just listening, Orlando? Did you have your hand up too?
I'm just listening.
Sorry, I had to save that, corrected it on the agenda. And then anything else on the KPFA election? Seeing none. After Sesta Fosta has 11 tickets sold, $60 paid. If you don't remember, Sesta Fosta is supposed to be the anti-sex trafficking and child sex trafficking bill, which really just tended to hurt actual adult sex workers. And when we get into it, there was a huge global child pornography ring that was taken down, and they tried to use Sesta Fosta, but actually Interpol had been doing that investigation for about 7 years before Sesta Fosta even came in, so it really had nothing to do with it. But anyway, we will discuss that with with people. And
Who,
that,
who are the speakers?
it's just people who believe in sex worker rights. It's not, none of our virtual, sorry,
There's
none
no
of,
presentation. Okay.
no, they weren't, I mean, we can discuss if we want to change it, but they were never ever promoted or marketed that way. It really was trying to fill the need that people tend, like we go to Green Sundays and you have the presenter and then it comes to Q&A and the person doesn't ask a question, right? The person gives a speech. It's like, well, here we have an event where you can just come and give that speech, right? You don't have to do it. So
Fair enough.
And it has been fairly successful. I mean, a lot of it too now is I think I did kind of phone in contacting people, like especially for the things I know about the ones before and people who had shaped me and whether it comes to non-monogamy and things like that and getting more people. So I am going to make a concerted to try and just say, hey, you're not getting any money for it, but if you want to come and just have a conversation and brainstorm, these are events for you. And yes, Greg, I see your hand.
So is that the last Sunday of the month?
Correct. The day after
So
Tracy.
that's Halloween?
Yeah.
Halloween?
Correct. I think so.
Wow. Well, okay, trick or treat. And that means 2 events in a row, right? You got Tracy and
Correct.
then you got
That's right.
Wow. Busy weekend.
Yes.
All right.
And busy next year's too. So I changed, let me give you at least 2 minutes. I changed, look at them before the next meeting, please. In the emails, I know there was a lot, but look at the new virtual titles. I'm trying to pick things again that will draw more people in, right? That's the name of the game we're trying to do in order to build an alternative party, our Green Party. And I definitely don't take anything away from the fucking internal family business that we have to deal with on county, state, and national level. But if anything is going to be fixed for our children's children, because we don't have that. There's a meme out about planting trees, and I laughed because I'm like, yeah, you want to plant all those trees and tear down all those buildings and make them green space. That's just to keep it at the level we're at now, right? No fire season anymore. Fire season's all year long. Tornadoes in Philly, or fucking cats and dogs living together. Total hysteria. No one watches Ghostbusters, just me. One of the people 7 that usually watch this, and that is about the average views we get on things, is going to get that joke. So yeah, so yes, it's 2 in a row, but anything else on the last event? And in December, I will have all of like I said, at least 1 set of graphics for all of next year's events. And I guess reminder, we're switching to afternoon virtual events and then live movie nights on the last Sunday. Yes, Michael.
Yes, for December, I just want to refresh people's memories. We are going to have a Christmas party. We got an initial okay from It's About Games as a venue for a Christmas party on the second Sunday. I just wanted people to know that.
And for the 6 or 7 people out there that don't celebrate Christmas, it's actually the winter holiday party. So we don't necessarily have to call it Christmas.
I don't celebrate Christmas either, but it's the Christmas party to me.
Yeah, right. I don't care.
Anyway,
that's how atheist I am. I don't care. Call it Christmas, whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I really don't.
Me too.
All right. Well,
the anarchist
so
trumps the atheist. Yes.
So we're just gonna forget about Santa Claus's birthday.
Coca-Cola Company will be so pissed off.
The holiday party includes everyone that wants to celebrate anything during the winter season. So if you celebrate Santa Claus, you're welcome.
Could we throw in Kwanzaa?
Sure.
Sure.
Anything you want. All right, that was it for the virtual events. Anything else on the And we will look, I'll send a reminder just with just the new virtual events. The next thing on the agenda is the November Green Sunday, and just a quick one. You wanted to, you added that, Michael. Can you start us off?
Yes, I just wanted to call people's attention to Green Sunday in November. Basically, I'll give a little report. Nura Kuri found us a tiny from Poor People's Magazine. Poor Magazine is speaking, and I assume Aiden is speaking. And I got an email from James McFadden this morning. Someone named Max something. I don't have it in front of me anymore.
Ventura,
I'm sorry.
Max Ventura.
He's willing to speak if we want him. That's the report that I wanted to give, and I think that there's. I want to say that I think that we ought to focus on the question of land, of whose land is it. There are lots of broad questions around land use that people, both the People's Park and other land struggles. It's more than just housing, although the housing is involved in it. But the whole question of whose land is it, what should we be used for, and who should decide are definitely up for grabs in this discussion over.
So Michael, are you going to be sending them a draft description and then ask for their bios? Because
I sent you Teeny's bio, that Tiny, I guess, or Tiny bio that Nora had obtained. I sent that to you.
Well, it was only one sentence, so it certainly can be longer, but I think the description is going to be key because.
Well, I will try to work on a description this week.
Okay.
You know, just you know, a few sentences, nothing elaborate. I will try to work on something.
Yes, Dale.
Michael, for my information, has the Ohlone Land Trust actually sued or filed a lawsuit regarding People's Park?
I do not know that. I don't know the answer to your question.
Okay. That's.
Anything else on November Green Sunday? Seeing none. So our Treasury report actually has a couple of things tied into it. So I mentioned the, oh shoot, I have to remember off the top of my head. Mentioned our ad goes into SF Bayview. I thought we were getting it comped. They didn't. They hit us with, it was $155. I paid it. I still think it'll actually help get people to come to Tracy's, to our fundraising event. And then we did the 255. We're still at $1,200, a little over $1,200. I think $1,239 off the top of my head, which is good. But technically, that $1,000 is the computer fund. But what we're going to end up doing is using that money for merchandise to try and raise more of those money as well. On the EIN number, which allows us to then get a new PayPal account. Right now, where it's in holdup is I'm waiting for the Oakland Greens email to come back up. It has not come back up since last month's meeting. I will send Don a reminder or ask for an update next week. But everything else is already copacetic. Is there any questions about Treasury or yes, Michael?
I have a question. My question is, when it does come up, will it have a donate button that we desperately need?
Yes, yeah. Once I get the IN, once I can get the PayPal account and then add an online donation button. Yes.
Okay.
And we do desperately need that. Yes, Greg.
How much did we agree to pay Tracy?
We already paid Tracy and it was $300.
Oh, we already paid her. Okay, great.
Correct. Any other Treasury questions? Seeing none. Social media and email report backs. Social media still is doing well. You know, that's pretty much our lifeblood as far as engagement. We'll even talk more about that when we get into the merchandise and why we're poking I'm poking the bear on that and asking for your approval to do so. But yeah, all of everything, the website, but I've been trying to guide more traffic to the website. It's happening. Email lists, I've been not sending out as many. We have not had anyone unsubscribe to the email list in the last 2 months. Yeah, like I said, Instagram is definitely more with other Green parties around the planet than locally, but we do get engagements. Those are, you know, I mean, we're still like in the social media, like any sort of viral thing, no, but when we start to get, you know, we're breaking over 10 likes, you know, as for being up still less than a year. I count it as a win, just also because there's actually engagement on Instagram. Like people will comment and we'll talk to each other in messages and things like that. Especially in some of the like New Zealand, one of their Facebook or Instagram pages. I talk to whoever's on the other end. You know, I mean, we've never seen each other, but we communicate quite often. And with that, is there any questions about any of the social media or email? Yeah, it's an easy one. Seeing none. Oh, here's some that'll do it. So did everyone please tell me you did, because all of us worked so hard on this, did the Texas trifold?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's 2 versions. If we can approve them both and print them and yeah, and start putting them out, and I actually can use them as turn them into graphics and put them up on social media as well. Was there anything anyone had issue with or changes? I see Michael, yes.
Yeah, I read them both, and I liked both of them actually, and I think we should use both of them. I think the historical one is probably somewhat less useful. It's for a harder core audience. So I think we should probably print less of those than the other one, but I think that we should print them both over.
Okay, I would definitely second that as well. I was really thankful for my sister and Dale's work as well, which we didn't really get to talk about because I had to go to work. But Dale's people was inspired by after the, excuse me, because I missed the county meeting. Was inspired by me driving at the back of the rally and the women's rally in Alameda. And so it actually turned out to be a pretty good day because you know, at first it was worse, and then we just got in the car and I actually had stopped traffic because when they started the march, they were obeying the traffic signals. And I don't know, I was having a bad day. So I was like, why are you waiting for, you know, you want to stay together. I was like, and the reason, and so I go into like almost doing like a teaching, but more of a rant. The reason you stay together is because the cops want to separate you so they can arrest your ass at the back, right? Like if you were actual black people, right, there'd be way more cops here. And so I sat there, and finally then turned around because I also had to pick up Dale. And then we ended up in the back of the rally and just had a shouting match that no one was ever going to win over me with, I guess, one pastor, and just asking him, why do you get to choose what anyone does with their body? Why do you get to choose? Someone tell me that. You tell me why you get to choose and I don't get to choose for myself. And then with another couple later on down, and even from the, I don't know if it was someone in the rally walking on the sidewalk talking about that they didn't want negative press, so they didn't want me like blocking traffic, even though I wasn't blocking traffic. I was just going really slow. There was actual people in the street ahead of me, so I don't know if they actually wanted me to run them over or what the deal was. And again, obviously it was probably their first rodeo, but not mine. So I answered it back too. I was like, no, that doesn't work. But see, now you've done that, so now I've stopped the car. because I gotta get out and talk to you. You're totally negative on what you're trying to accomplish. But I was like, no, that ain't gonna work. And I said, well, what I said was, well, good thing I'm not part of any organization that organized this rally and didn't agree to anything, and I'm an individual, and I'm anarchist, atheist, and consensual monogamous, and I'm gonna do what the fuck I want. So I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. And she even went to one of the people who were the pro-lifer ones too, and like, oh, don't engage with him, and he's not with us, whatever. I'm like, you can look at all the bumper stickers on my fucking car and tell I'm not with you. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, that nice, and that goes into the reason to perk the bear. So I'll wait that part for when we get to merch. So is there any, oh yes, Greg.
Okay, so going back to the brochures, I get, there's two comments. One is, I think it's the non-historical one. There's the word gerrymander. Gerrymander is one of the subject headings, and it's actually spelled with a G, not Jerry, you know, because it's spelled right now Jerry, but it's actually spelled with a G because it's named after this guy whose name was Jerry with a G. So
Elbridge Gerry in Massachusetts.
Right, yeah, so just change it to a G, and that'll work for that. The other thing is not necessarily changed, but I was just a little, I found it interesting that both of the brochures have American flags on them. And, you know, some people might interpret that as saying that we support the existing US, and others might interpret it as saying we want to take over the US. So I don't know exactly how you all think, or maybe it's just a conversation starter. But I just wanted to comment. I found it interesting that we had the American flag there.
You want to say something there?
No. Michael's hand and then Dale.
Yeah, I just wanted to, your reference, but going back to the October 2nd demonstration reminded me that I wanted to say that that as a result, in part of the phone call that was the follow-up to the October 2nd demonstration, there was a national phone call of people interested in the reproductive rights movement. And one of the things that happened is that it looks like December 1st will be another demonstration of a similar type. That will be prior to the Supreme Court taking up the Mississippi case. So that's been chosen as a day of demonstrations, and I think we should be two things. One, I think that we should publicize that as soon as it becomes more official. And the second thing is, I think that it would be good for one of us, if not more, to find out to contact the Women's March or whomever, and find out whether or not there's going to be a local committee organizing the December 1st demonstration, and become involved in that directly. Over.
Okay, and Dale, you were next.
Oh, yes, the little American flag. I don't like the idea of surrendering the flag to the right wing and to the neo-fascists in this country. They've dishonored the flag, period. And I used to have to deal with an awful lot of conservative students where I taught for decades. And I'd come in and I'd wear the Texas Aggie pin in my lapel. I'd come in one day and I'd wear the American flag, you know, on my lapel, but then I'd be taking them way to the left in terms of what I was trying to discuss and express. And I had more power that way than I would have otherwise had if I came in there, you know, dressed with my racquetball outfit on and saying, you know, I don't want to be at this class. I got a racquetball game after this class, and look like a, you know, real cool hippie guy, and still was a left winger. So I've been I dealt with that for so long. I was an irritant to even to the administration, because I'd come in with a blue suit to talk to them, and annoyed them too. We tried to get, you know, oh my God, in the 1980s, we had to get rid of the Aggie Corps cadets marching out around the campus with a Confederate flag. We got rid of that. We had to get rid of the idea that the women couldn't join the Aggie band, for Pete's sake, you know, and a host of acknowledgement that the gay student organization could exist. We fought that battle too. And we came in there all the time with the Aggie pin and the American flag and blue suits, just to annoy the opposition. So that's where I come from. But if you want it off the literature, okay, you know, your decision.
Myself and then Greg. So I'm going to give you a little insight. So it's been some of the template was plagiarized from the county, and the flag just fit the template to make the words fit. I'll completely concede that. That's my little bit of phoning in on the flyer. But also me personally, on that flag is a piece of cloth, really. I understand that it means different things to different people in the context here. And I've also been way on the record that I think we should treat America like we're just coming out of apartheid, rewrite the Constitution, get rid of all the negative stuff about like women and that, which sounds like I said, let's just get rid of women. But negative stuff saying that women can't vote or own property or African Americans are 3/5 of human beings or anything of that nature, and just start over and have a whole new flag, right? It's really simple. So this symbol does, like, I mean, it's not the same one. It wasn't 50 states when slavery was around, but you know, so, but really, you know, I think flags are pretty. I try to not, like, I don't care if you burn them, I don't care if you step on them, or if you wear them, any of that shit. That does not bother me. I have my the Puerto Rican flag behind me. I have a bigger one there. I have the national African diaspora flag up, you know, so I'm like, yeah, it's really pretty. And it does, and it's really more personal, saying this is what it says about me in my own context. So, you know, so I can change it to a different flag, you know, I can put the APOC flag on there, anarchist people of color. But I mean, either way, and you know what, too, again, we can make so many versions. I can put something else in there. And I don't think anyone was asking actually to remove it, just was saying it was interesting, which would be good for discussion topic. Maybe there'll be a little edit on that in that aspect. Yes, Greg, you were next.
Yeah, yeah, I was just saying that it could be an interesting icebreaker. You know, you have these brochures and somebody's going to comment, oh, so you guys are right wingers or something. You got the, you know, no, we're not right wingers. So, you know,
you don't know how much I would love it when we're tabling if someone was to say that to me.
Right. And it even, you know, makes me think that at some point it would be interesting to have a green Sunday on the American flag. You know, what does it mean, and what should progressives and radicals think about the American flag, or you know, so that kind of conversation. And I really like the idea of, you know, taking back the American flag from all the right wingers, because many of these right wingers that went, well, you saw when on January 6th, you know, all these people that were going to go take over the Capitol, they had their American flags, you know, this is what we should do, and all kinds of right-wing rallies, they always have the American flag. So in that context, yeah, I think it's good to talk about it. And the weird stuff, of course, was people that had both American flags and Confederate flags. It was like, dude, you don't get it.
And crosses. And crosses.
But the only other thing, of course, is that I suspect that a number of Native Americans don't particularly like the American flag, but that's another conversation. So, okay, it's good, certainly good for an icebreaker. It'll start getting us into a lot of conversations.
Michael.
Yeah, one of the ways that people have used the American flag is in the protest movement is to show it upside down, and I think that would be I would argue for that.
That's an easy adjustment.
Well, we could have two brochures, one with the right side up and one with the upside down, and we can see which ones people will take, you know.
The historical one, right side up, the one that's more policy driven, upside down. Yeah, everybody okay with that one?
I am.
Right? Done and done. Man, look at that. I love it.
Great.
Anything else on the trifolds? Seeing none. Now we go to tabling. So Greg, can you tell us how Blake Street went?
Yeah, you recall that this was Phoebe who primarily brought it to us, that their group of the Wired, you know, about 5G and electromagnetic radiation stuff. So they were very happy because their goal was $800, which is what they owed their lawyer to pay off the work the lawyer did for them, and it looks like they just made it. You know, they raised over 500 yesterday, and it looks like they were able to get 800 today, and they still had a huge ton of stuff left, and they put most of it on the sidewalk in front of Blake Street. And, you know, unfortunately, it looked like there's going to be some rain, so they had to cover it with a tarp because people still didn't take it. So if it doesn't rain tomorrow, we'll uncover the tarp and maybe people will take the rest of the stuff. But yeah, it went surprisingly well. You know, they advertised it on Craigslist and on other people's lists, and you know, so yeah, so they had a steady stream of people all day yesterday and a good part of today.
Cool.
Great. That's good to hear. Right. Any other questions, anything? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do.
Michael, please.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, it's actually addressed to you. I mean, what happened today at the game store?
You're on mute.
Yeah, that's the next thing on the list. Sadly, that one did not go as well. After doing, which I should still talk about yesterday, I had a Vicente day and went out and partied like I was in my 30s, but unfortunately you have to recover like you're in your late 50s. So I was 3.5 hours late I missed Dale, but I was 3.5 hours late down to Itch and Move games. On, I guess, the plus side, it wasn't very well attended. I stayed there till about 4, and it wasn't well attended. I got all of the literature folded that we had printed for the Women's March, so that was good. And very completely blank minor, just like fucking with people when they walk by, which also would be like being at Ren Fair. Saying that everything was fine, but we had I did get a good picture. The green banner was taped to the wall, and I was there. But again, it wasn't really well attended. Hip Hop for Change was there, bumping some good music, so that was motivating as well. But yeah, I kind of I phoned that one in because I was recovering from. I didn't get home late from partying the day before and all that. So that's what's happened here. That's what happened there. But. And I could have, and I texted Chris, but Chris wasn't able to send. I should start texting both Will and Chris when it comes to things like that. Because if Dale could have hung out, you know, we could have had some fun. That was, yeah, anything else on that? Sorry. Oh, but before we go to my Saturday, so though yesterday, two things. First season one. So we got a shout out. The Oakland Green Party got a shout out on the Let's Go Warriors YouTube channel in front of 1,500 people,
Cool.
which was a badass. Yep, right. If I can read text, yeah, fuck yeah. And that will tie into other, which actually, oh, I should have tied it into Green Social. Ah, fucked up the timing. But then, okay, on my Vicente like party day, back to, and it's said before, hey, look at that curry. That's right. Yes.
One of the yard sale items.
Oh, nice. Okay. How much you pay for that? You want that on?
I bought a bunch of stuff for $7. This was part of it.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That's a good deal. Yeah. I
So,
would have paid $7 for that by itself.
Yeah.
and then on my party day, I ended up having conversations with people and talking about Green Party three times, where it was out to what we do in Oakland. They may not be local, but still just getting things out there. That was good. Oh, and then the last thing under this particular agenda item is, oh, sorry, go ahead, Dale.
No, I just wanted to ask you, I missed completely, hard of hearing, basically, the connection between the Oakland Greens and the Let's Go Warriors shout out. Or the
I was on the YouTube channel.
You,
Yes. And then the organizer on camera said the Oakland Green Party. And I'll like I said, it'll go into the Warriors. So because I told them that you and I are going to a game to see if, like, oh, if it's safe, and if it's safe enough for us to bring a large number of Oakland Green Party members, actually just Green Party members. And they repeated it and like, oh, cool, we'd love to have the Green Party. So yeah, it was awesome.
so is it still on the internet now? I can Google in with it.
You can just go to the Let's Go Warriors, and it was the post-game report from the last home preseason game. Two nights ago,
2 nights ago.
maybe Friday night's game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was the last preseason game.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yeah,
okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
yeah, pretty cool. No, that was good. I was like, holy shit, he said that out loud. Most people won't say Green Party out loud. Area.
So, Michael, do you want some Warriors stuff? Because there was a lot of Warriors stuff left over.
No, I don't really have the space for it, but it's tempting. But I think I'll on the basis of preserving my marriage.
But you should save it, because my guess is, again, my guess is by going into the seats that usually nobody gets, that we may be in a position where 6 of us could go all in Green Party at one end of the stadium where people would even see us. We may not get on camera, people would see us, especially with the banner, and there won't be anyone really around us for rows at a time. So it's social distancing, you wear your mask. San Francisco is requiring vaccinations. You got to have vaccinations, not even negative tests. You got to prove you've had the jab.
I'm glad.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, if people are going to fucking be nuts or whatever, again, so funny, even as an anarchist, I'm like, but if the general consensus, like, by people who know, but that's the way I lived my whole life too. Anything like I talk about social justice and like, oh, here's the policies, but I'm like, that's not my ideas. Motherfuckers, Rosa, Du Bois, Soldier, Malcolm X, all these motherfuckers had them way before me. I just like took what I liked about them and just said, oh, that's a good idea. We should do that, right? And how do we best achieve that goal? That's all. So it's the same thing when it comes to the science or whatever. And it goes back to the social media where it's like the negative part, and where we really do need to somehow have regulation. But see, I don't even think you can get good regulation until we can get real, and again, just using the label people before profit candidates that are running things, right? It's never going to happen any other way. They're so worried about being elected. That's not the conversation we're having. But yeah, so it bugs me. So I'm glad they're doing it too. And I'm glad that other companies are doing it. Well, then there's also the argument Are you for free market? So the company can do what it wants or it can't. Like you don't get to do it just for you, motherfucker, right? And go back to the same thing in the women. Why do you get to decide? Why do you get to decide?
Exactly.
Right. So, and again, the last one under that agenda item is I want to apply, and I think we should, if it's not raining, like I'll apply to start in January, and if it's not raining, we just give up our Sundays, and I'll go out and start tabling at Grand Lake Farmers Market. If we can think of a better market that we would want to do, I mean, even if it's like in deep East Oakland where people really need the message more, my only concern there is that there is and I think Orlando said before, there's a big religious contingent, and I'm not going to fake the funk on my atheism to do that. And that has always actually hindered me anytime when I ran for school board and city council as well, when I would go into the churches and all that, and they're like, oh, you're Christian. I'm like, no, I'm not. And that would be the only thing. So I would still have to find a way around that. I'm still willing to do it. Mama says I love to argue. So, but we should pick one market and then, and here's the last part. And then, yes, I hear you, Michael, too, is that if we're looking for, again, to try and still kind of really get into some sort of fundraising, we should go to Grand Lake Farmers Market, right? If we want to register more people to vote, and possibly even run for office, I think, and we are like a real still beginning stage fundraising. If we were bringing in $5,000 a year, I think we could shift that. We don't need a lot of money for what we do, right? Shift. But anyway, those are my arguments for and against. Yes, Michael, please. You were.
I was just going to say, unless I misheard you, the Grand Lake Farmers Market is Saturday, not Sunday.
Correct. Give up my Saturdays. Yep.
Right. Okay.
And I would actually probably even whatever market we do, I'd want to give, because we can't really give up Sundays because all of our other stuff is on Sundays. Right. And I would say in the summertime, like next year, even what I did, I am planning probably definitely 2 days, which would be one weekend. Probably would be the first weekends of the months when there's no other Green Party commitments, of having party like I'm 30, have to recover like I'm in my 50s time, just replenish myself, but not every. And I would totally take responsibility for publishing it on the website. Oh, we will not be there on this particular Saturday. Yes, Greg.
Isn't the first Saturday Suds and Socialism?
It is
Okay, just double checking.
at 2:30.
So that means essentially there's something going on every weekend.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's good. It shows how active we are.
Well, actually, because it's Saturday, it's okay. That is, if you don't do it on the first Saturday, but the second Saturday and the third Saturday and the fourth Saturday are all open.
Right. Well, the thing with farmers market, it'd be every Saturday.
That's right.
And Suds is at what, 2:30?
2:30 on
Yeah.
first.
So we go.
Although the one next, the November one is going to be the second Saturday.
Oh, right.
Because it's about the Glasgow, and the Glasgow is just going to be getting started on that first Saturday. So we moved it to the second Saturday.
Okay. I think same thing, maybe on the first Saturday, we leave at 2, right? I usually don't stay that much longer because you have to get there so early. At least the Grand Lake Farmers Market required you to be there by opening or an hour before opening. So, easily, and mostly too, farmers markets, at least, it's been 4 years since we did Grand Lake, but usually by 2 or 3, everybody had already been by anyway.
Right.
So we do the morning shift on the first Saturday, we stay later on all the other Saturdays, and then I bounce out, once every other month or once every 3 months on the first Saturday and go get drunk. Basically go get intoxicated. Have fun, go get my creative juices on. And we can also, again, sit on it Fonzie and talk about this, make this actual decision next month, because I wouldn't have to apply until December to say, oh, we'd like to start on, in January and coming. And I will also make it very clear, it's like, oh, well, if it's raining, my back, and we're all old fuck, so we ain't coming out in the
Not
rain.
doing it if it's raining.
Right. I'll do it like if it's semi-cold, like I will bundle up, I'll bite even that bullet, because we really are in such a hard state. It's a small sacrifice for me to make. But yeah, raining, nah, not so much.
Understood.
Anything else on tabling outreach? The Let's Go Warriors was badass. So we can, what time is it? 7:42. I think we possibly skip to, because it's not going to happen until the next meeting too. But I do, just like with KPFA, I think from our last meeting, I think we should talk about the state, like changing bylaws for recall elections to give us even a better shot. Oh, yeah, go get him, Greg. You jumped at that chance.
Okay, well, it apparently other people were thinking the same thing, because some of you may know that the upcoming state party online General Assembly meeting is the first weekend of December. And there's going to be a presentation, no decision, but a presentation on at least one idea of how the recall might be changed. Apparently, it's also involved with some of the stuff that even the state Democrats are proposing. So I think they're going to go over some of the stuff that state Democrats are going to propose, and they're going to say, here's our take as Greens on it, this, and we'll see what people's feedback and input will be.
What, something that the Bay Area thought of first, somebody else is going to go, no, that never happens. Good for them. Damn right they should. I don't give a fuck about credit, but yes, they should talk about it. So that's good. Then the next one actually goes into more fun stuff. So, and we kind of went over it. So the green social. So we already are definitely going to do it next year for baseball games. God, I don't believe in willing and the creek don't rise, right? We're all still here. We're going to start going to baseball games and sitting in the sun forever, but where again, it's social. And you know what? Well, we still would have to, because of the banner, where there'd be enough space where we can get enough people and just stretch the banner across, and we'll sit in the outfield again where people have to see us. And so we're gonna do that. So now though, after just thinking about it and feeling more comfortable, I have been out and about, not just at baseball games. I have been, testing waters and stuff. Dale and I are gonna go to a Warriors game. Oh, the sacrifice. And if, again, sitting in the cheap seats has enough social distancing, we're going to come back and say, oh, well, we'll just like email the county. And this is specifically also, this isn't just for green members, it's specifically for us. It's like our, almost like green socials in the sense like having holiday parties. So it'll be for county council members, of course, their significance, and the in crowd, the cool people, the cool kids.
I didn't think that there were any cheap seats at Chase Center.
Actually, and there's another one too, is that so because there'll be so many, the Greens will foot it and then they'll pay us back. But I'm going to try and do verified resale tickets. So yes, there are no cheap tickets if you buy straight through the Warriors, but different online groups buy bulk tickets and then resell them for cheaper, but they still make a profit. So we'll see if that works. And it is the one, and actually that decision, I usually was against them, but I have been watching like interviews and stuff on the Let's Go Warriors YouTube channel, shout out, where, the Chase, the management and stuff of the center are talking like, oh no, and Ticketmaster and stuff coming on going, of course we want to be secure, but no, only go if it says verified on that stuff. They've at least done their due diligence. So we'll see. And so we'll get cheap and like $31 cheap tickets, but you are at the end of the stadium. But they say, because they did take a theater approach, so it's like almost like raked seating, that there really isn't a bad seat in the house.
Well,
And I've sat at that, at least the top level, not exactly where we're trying to be able to be seen by the fans themselves. And the seats were great. So, but the ones that we are going to with Dale are actually in the zone that we are looking at for actual green socials for everyone.
Okay.
Yo, yes, Dale.
Very quickly, I want to tell you why I had to send the Warriors tickets to you, because if in a paperless operation,
I mean, if you don't have a computer, if you're not on the internet, can you imagine trying to get an airline ticket these days? I mean, it used to be there were all these travel agents. You could, every town had a bunch of travel agents. You go down and get your airline ticket, but nope, no more travel agents. And if you don't have a computer, good luck getting an airplane ticket.
We have a very good travel agent in North Berkeley. We've used for years.
And they're still booking
Well,
ordinary airplane flights.
I think so, but I haven't.
Let me, sorry. All right. The last one is green merchandise. Oh no, we have, yep, this is the last one too. So we have all these graphics to approve, and why we're actually even recording this part. So over the last, when I posted the last one in Korean, one of the, I mean, it really poked bear for 5 people, which is crazy because it's only got like 8 or 9 views, the little bit of that I edited and put out, and I put it on all the non-monogamous pages. But on the green pages and the KPFA pages, it like poked a bear, and like people were saying that, oh, it's not a value, it doesn't align with the green part, whatever. So, right, I'm one of those people too, right? You don't want to poke the bear with me because some of those buttons are easily pushed. And so I went back. The reason we changed, and another thing was too about the nostalgia of it. So if you remember, the reason that was in Korean is because Dale and I spent a lot of time campaigning together. His partner, Sun Yi, is very, very nice and respectful of me because knows that Dale and I work well together, and I always watch out for him wherever we are, right? She respects me, I respect her. So yes, I had gotten her to do some things for my tattoos, but because it's like family to me, I'm like, oh, well, let's put it in Korean. And for a whole bunch of different reasons why it was, but the actual family reason drove a nerve inside of the 2 of the Green Party pages that I'm on about why we should not be talking about this at a meeting. I'm like, well, one of them is that if you have a revolution without love, I don't want to be there, right? Fuck that, right? I do it out of love for my family, not because of any, that's the reason that I do it. That's why I have that conscience. So anyway, but along that same line of family nostalgia, because it doesn't translate specifically in Korean, and it wouldn't get it, we did not use the consensual non-monogamy, anything about non-monogamy in Korean, just the true sound of liberty is the only one, which will be our first test shirt with the original 3/5, just the 3/5 and the website on the back. Right now, the quote, but I asked her to update it, and I also have to update the artwork. So we'll have hopefully official quotes for this next one, but $137 is not a deposit, but she's going to make sample shirts and the graphics cost itself. And what we did, we changed it to Spanish because the Spanish had no problem with it, and it does translate. But if you also notice on the graphics, we actually changed a whole bunch of them in the sense that we have one of them is in Spanish, the Green Party, the Oakland Greens are a true sound of liberty. Consensual non-monogamy is a Green Party family value. There's one that's even the shortest, just phrase, consensual sex, no monogamy, which I think consent is a huge thing and is definitely aligned with Green Party values of respect for women and falls into women's rights. And I did those so we have the red and black. And well, I should just add, people look at them? The pictures? Yeah, okay. Yes, Greg, hands up.
I'll just say that no monogamy does not strike me as, I don't This is a question of choice. I've been monogamous. I like being monogamous, and you know, it's my choice whether to be monogamous or not.
Yes, and it's everybody's choice also
Yeah.
to be non-monogamous. Yeah,
Well, I agree with that too, but
Yeah.
but that's not what you said. That's not what I heard you say. You said no monogamy.
oh, as a
As
catchphrase,
Yeah, something on the shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, as a catchphrase, yes. And
So
Greg, you had your hand up too.
Yeah, that was pretty close to what I was going to say, which is that when you've been talking about non-monogamy, I've been thinking of that as an additional freedom of choice. That we're not saying that we're against people who want to, only be monogamous, but we're saying there should be additional choices, and society should not pigeonhole people.
Right.
And
I
so
hope not,
think-
because the person who's organizing most of the Oakland Greens events is not monogamous. That'd be pretty shitty if y'all
Yeah.
don't like me. You don't like me? you don't like me?
Right. But I think the point is that when we're trying to put out a message to the public, that it needs to be as clear as possible. And I think that when you just see, when most people just see the words no monogamy as opposed to non-monogamy, I think no monogamy sounds like, let's get rid of monogamy. Anybody who's monogamous is bad. We should not have anybody that's monogamous. Right. Whereas non-monogamy sounds more like, oh, that's an additional choice. Or even if you want to go like beyond monogamy or something. So I just think it's just the way that most people will perceive, certain phrases, that we want to be careful on how we're phrasing it, so that it's more about expanding choices than saying that, we're right, you're wrong, and you should do it the way we're thinking of doing it.
I agree with Greg.
So if it said no capitalism, would that be okay?
Well,
Yes.
I mean, we definitely agree that no.
Okay, but wait. But most people do not agree with that. I would say most people do not agree with no capitalism.
Okay, well, I would say that
and I disagree that most people would think no monogamy means, oh, we just want to get rid of monogamous people too.
Well,
I completely disagree with that.
All right, well, that's how I see many people would interpret it. That's all.
Right. I mean, non-monogamy is different than no monogamy. In other words, non-monogamy tells me that we're not limited to monogamy, but no monogamy means we're opposed to it. No thanks.
I agree that that's what you read. I agree, and even Greg. I don't. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Or just different? Yes. Well, you need another vote. And hold on. And Dale has his hand.
I have trouble entering, as you know, because we've discussed this, entering into this discussion about monogamy, because I am a serial monogamist, meaning that I've had a long succession of successful marriages. So does this make me
right
non-monogamous if I'm a serial monogamous?
There's a whole, there's books on that. Did you have your hand up too, Orlando? Yes, go ahead.
Welcome to Vicente world. That's it.
And and also we should really say that particular graphic we're talking about is like a shock graphic. It definitely was not meant in the sense that we should get rid of but it's the same thing if it would say no capitalism or no socialism that the right would put out or whatever. And the only people that I would wear that shirt, Michael would not, Greg would not, but I could easily think of 20 people who would have that would wear it, right? But it's just some adding to our, again, we could say that that's for a specific
audience,
person, specific audience, a specific person, for a t-shirt. But also, if it sells, right, I'm like, okay, I don't care, right? Because we're really trying to use, I'm really trying, and the only reason I'm even, this goes back to poking the bear, why I know there are Green Party members, I personally know Green Party members who are, and they would not call themselves polyamorous, they would call themselves consensually non-monogamous. They're really more politics, right? And view non-monogamy as one of the founding pillars on social justice because of that. Again, having those choices, right? If we're talking about choice for everyone, then we want to include anyone. And it's the same, it's sort of, sometimes it was the same argument, not often, but was also the same argument that they made against the LGBTQ community, right? That, oh, if they were near your kids, they're rapists, all these different negatives, where no, actually, they're just, regular working class folks like everybody else. Actually, there tends to be a lot more money in that community.
Right. But I want to again repeat that the difference between no monogamy and non-monogamy is a serious one. That's all.
I think it is going to make a very interesting dialogue. I think it'll be a hot seller.
Yeah.
We could try.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, and then what we do, because these also are going to be, they'd be graphics too. I can throw it up again, since that seems to be what gets people to talk, at least 5 people to talk about it, and saying it one. Well, we can, again, because when we're talking about freedom of choice, we do agree that for people who are consensually non-monogamous, it's like definitely like we would support their choice to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But anyway, so I don't know why, again, and that was the argument on these Facebook pages that, oh, it's not a Green Party value, we don't support that. And I'm like, what? How? Well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I'm telling you that I am, right? Obviously.
We're for choice in all things. I'm
that don't negatively affect someone else.
That's exactly right. It's
and
exactly the caveat.
Right. And who my life doesn't affect them that way too. So we kind of already went over the website and Facebook. Is there any announcements? Seeing none, that's it. I move we adjourn.
Well, good night, all.
Non-monogamous.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.